într-adevăr mai... Da, sper să reapare până începe treaba.
Cum să dispar? Sunt aici. Ce zice Silviu?
Zice 3, 2, 1, uite, zice go. Dar în continuare nu te văd.
Pe mine?
Da. Dar suntem live și o să începem că își revine. Hello everybody. Madalin?
Yeah.
Stai o secundă. Gata. Am dat drumul la video. Gata. All good. Hello everybody. Good evening. We are going to have this show in English because we have a lot of viewers from our colleagues from all around the world, and they asked us to have this discussion in English so they can also share it further with people who are interested. This is going to be a very interesting show this evening because I have a very special guest in the person of my good friend and partner Madalin. Hello, Madalin.
Hi, Alex.
Madalin is the CEO and founder of CyberSmart Defense, which is one of the most dynamic cybersecurity companies that I know. And these guys are really working wonders. And basically, I like to say that when they do a good job, you don't hear about them. That is the actual indicator of a great job in cybersecurity.
Silent killers.
Yeah, exactly. Or silent killers of killers. So thank you very much, Madalin, for joining us. I'm happy to work with you for the past, I don't even know, 15 years or something. It's a lot
17.
of time. My God, we are really old. And thank you very much for joining. And guys, we want to have this discussion because, especially in today's context, cybersecurity is a very important topic, and it's on everybody's lips. Everybody's talking about it. You know the joke: cybersecurity is like teenage sex. Everybody talks about it, but nobody knows how to do it. So basically, I wanted to have this discussion from two angles with Madalin. One angle is about the digital transformation and the rapid development of digital transformation, because just to make a short introduction, we have a lot of accelerated trends, a lot of projects and initiatives within our clients that were there but moved quite slow, and now they really accelerated, and we have a lot of new things that are coming. And the other angle is the cybersecurity angle, meaning that, okay, we need to advance, we need to evolve, we need to change and always improve the digital interfaces of the brands that we represent. But at the same time, we have to have an eye on the cybersecurity matter. So what I'm trying to achieve together with Madalin in today's discussion is what is the actual balance that we need to reach? What is the speed that our organizations need to move forward, while at the same time keeping an eye on the cybersecurity and compliance aspect? And the first thing that I want to dive in with Madalin is one of the subjects that we talked about with a lot of entrepreneurs lately, the distributed organization, or how everybody calls it, work from home or work remote. And Madalin, I wanted to ask you, what would be the things that you would advise our clients and our partners and ourselves at the end of the day to be careful about when having an organization which is, I'm proud to say, 100% working from home right now?
Alex, thank you very much for the very nice introduction. I want you to know that I really appreciate our friendship for the last 17 years, and you know that. I remember, yeah, your first email address was created on our servers, and this is because at that time, if you remember, having a Yahoo or Gmail didn't even exist at that time. Having a Hotmail and Yahoo email, it was not professional, so you needed a real business and secure email. You remember I was talking about security since these old days, but of course, many people didn't even know how email is working, and they were using fax in order to communicate with other entrepreneurs. So I really appreciate this long friendship that we have together and strong partnership that we developed in these so many years. On the other hand, talking about cybersecurity, it's something that I'm doing since I started my entrepreneurial life in 1997. My first business was an internet cafe here in Râmnicu Vâlcea, where I am at the moment, so-called as Hackerville, the city of hackers. So my journey in entrepreneurial life, and also in the IT, and especially in the cybersecurity, it started here and many years ago. But I will tell you very nice stories, and then I will come back to your question. But because I want this discussion to be very open, like we do when we usually meet, we discuss like old friends and very open, not so official, let's say. That's why today I don't have a tie or a suit. So basically, you know how I did start at cybersecurity, and I have to tell you a little secret actually. You remember those? Yeah. I have to confess something. You remember that days when I was the web hosting provider of your company, of Infinite Solutions? You remember in 2007 you had a very big client, if you remember. It was the cigarette. Anyway, we will not say the name of the company. You had a cigarette producer as a client, and you remember they had a campaign promoting this special
a very big prize,
basically they were giving every 2-3 hours, if you remember, one phone as a prize. They were randomly choosing some numbers, and those numbers you could find them actually in the cigarettes packages, if you remember. And then the biggest prize, it was in the Christmas Eve, and it was a very big prize, a very fancy car, a sports car. And I have to confess that at that time we were hacked many times by some people that they were basically manually injecting into the database the codes. So basically
they were trying.
They were trying to inject. They didn't manage, of course, but let me tell you the entire process. So basically what they were doing, they were buying cigarettes, and they were taking the codes, and those codes they were trying to inject them into the database, and in order to win those prizes. Of course, at that time I realized that my guys, besides changing the passwords or blacklisting those IPs, they were not able to identify how those guys they are trying to identify and exploit potential vulnerabilities. So I understood that we don't know and we don't think like hackers. So, and you know, then the story how I end up starting this cybersecurity, because I understood there are many people in my position and many entrepreneurs that they don't know what they don't know. So I said to myself that
just to jump in a bit, I remember those times, and we managed to have 100% security proof, but what was behind,
what you don't know what was behind.
It was an incredible effort, and I remember we were very proud about this when talking to the client. We were very proud, and things went flawlessly. Nobody managed to hack.
But nobody knows.
But they didn't understand. They didn't understand the effort that was behind. It was like unimaginable effort, and the 24 hours you put in, people changing them to go to sleep, and another one coming to watch
exactly, because they didn't know that there are vulnerabilities, and they didn't know how to mitigate them. What they were doing, it was a manual workaround. So basically, when you saw a strange behavior, my guys, they were blacklisting that IPs, but the hackers, they were trying to change other IPs, coming with VPNs, because the prize was very big. If you remember, it was a very fancy car, and so the prize and the target was a nice one. So we had people to continuously blacklist IPs, so it was like a mouse and cat game, and it took for 24 hours. And then it came an idea to my mind to ask someone who knows this kind of offensive security to let me know what should I do. And then he gave me a list of vulnerabilities that I should fix, and then this is how we end up understand that there are many companies and organizations in this position that they don't know to identify potential vulnerabilities, and this is how I end up starting this cybersecurity business, which I made it out of a lot of passion. I'm very passionate about security. As I said, I'm from Hackerville, and I was dealing with this kind of things since I was kid. Now, coming back to your question, those were the old times, of course, when you were hacking an email by just guessing the recovery questions. If you remember, what is the name of your cat, and if you were answering correctly to those two of those questions, that you could just enter the email. So it was a lot of social engineering at that time. So coming back to our days, what is happening, I would like you to imagine, and you know a lot of, because we work with large organizations and enterprises, and you know that, for example, the IT department of a company is formed out of, let's say, 10, 15 people, if it's 1,000 employees in the IT department, and especially the cybersecurity department, they might have maximum one person that could be in charge for the entire organization when it comes to cybersecurity. So imagine now sending these 1,000 employees from the office, where basically those guys, they were working a lot together with the vendors, with us, with the cybersecurity companies, to secure that infrastructure. So the employee, when he comes into in the office, he eventually will be secure and working with sensitive data, not taking outside data, installing a lot of solutions, cybersecurity solutions like DLP, data loss prevention, firewalls, intrusion detection systems, monitoring continuously the traffic into the infrastructure. Now imagine that suddenly, over the night, 1,000 employees had to leave the office and go work from home, and still working with sensitive information, because the most important asset of a company is the data. So offices and furniture and all these other things, you can still recover, or it's not such a big damage in case something is, let's say the building is taking fire. But what is extremely important is the data. So of course there are scenarios where you do these drills, when you, for example, do disaster recovery plan, and then you try to see if that disaster recovery plan is really working, and suddenly you just cut off the internet access to the servers, recover from backups, move the office, and so on. But what it happened with this pandemic, it was not a drill, it was live. It was happening live. So suddenly, within the 24 hours, 48 hours, you have to move 1,000 employees to work from home and still keeping up with the operation, because you have SLAs, you have contracts in place, you need to deliver, you need to keep your promises, and you cannot afford to send employees at home and so on. This IT department, it's absolutely impossible, and this actually, it cannot be done. Also from the legal perspective, to go into the houses of 1,000 employees and try to do the entire checkup list and test and to verify that the router that you have at home, it doesn't have the default username and password, that the Wi-Fi network that you are using at home, it's correctly encrypted, that the Wi-Fi SSID of your house, it's not Alex Infinite, so everybody knows how to target it as easier as possible. Then that in that router, which by the way, most of the times it was installed like 8-10 years ago, and nobody touched it and since then, to do a firmware upgrade, to apply some security patches and so on. Also in the same router, you have you were disconnected, Alex, but I'm sure you will be back. So I will continue with my logic. So imagine that in that router, let's wait for Alex to come back and then we continue.
Yeah.
There. Yeah, okay, you're back. So imagine into the same router, you have then your kids playing with their own devices and then installing these free applications which are full of malware and viruses that, of course, they can infect your network and do what is called lateral movement and find sensitive information. So suddenly everything has changed, and there are a lot of security measures that you need to put in place in order to at least try to make it more secure, this data exchange, which is sensitive. So you
Madalin,
came back with your
because I'm also receiving I receive a lot of questions from Facebook and on WhatsApp from people who are watching. What would be the first 2, 3, 4 things that people at home should do immediately themselves? Like, just to give you an example, all of my routers, if I use the brand X, first I change the name of the brand, because let's say it's not to give example, let's say it's an Infinite router. I will never name it Infinite. I would call it Cyber Smart Defense router.
No.
No, that would be too big of a temptation. But what would be the top 3, 4 things the people should be careful?
I can tell you, let's say at least 10 out of, could be like 50, but some most important.
The most important, please.
Yeah. Oh, I put also, I have a short list here just for you to know the importance of it. So I would change, first of all, I would change the default passwords of your Wi-Fi router.
Okay.
Usually comes with admin 1234 or admin without any password or default passwords. There are websites where you can search the model of the router and you can see there what is the default password. Then, so I would change the default password of the router. Then I will change the name of my SSID. I will not put it something which will point towards me. So if somebody comes into my parking and targets me or the company I'm working for, then it will not, out of the list of the Wi-Fi networks, they might, let's say, I can give you some suggestions. For example, you can name it like, I don't know, a shop, like a small mini market shop which is next to you, or you can try different types of diversion in order to attract or distract attention from the real target. This could be one of them.
So very important, the name of the router tells a story in itself. You can, if you put your home address and even your floor, it's bad. Okay?
No way. No.
Never. So because I see this in a lot of cases, wherever I go, I find I don't know, this boulevard, apartment 21, living room. And what the hell? That means somebody can easily associate you with that router and hack you.
So all our viewers have to know that a hacker, he works with the information you provide him through various sources or channels. Social media, it's one of them, of course. Tagging your location, telling exactly what's the name of your cat, how many kids you have, things like that. We all use social media for, let's say, promoting services, but sometimes we need to be very careful with this kind of information we put into the public. On the other hand, I did disappear. I saw on Facebook again.
Yeah, but it will come back. It's from the connection.
So coming back to the security measures.
Perfectly. We hear you perfectly.
Yeah, good. Coming back to the security measures. So I would change those default username and passwords. I would change the name of the SSID. I would do a firmware upgrade of the router, because for sure it's out of date. Then I will check the permissions of the applications that in my infrastructure. Remember, inside at home, my kids, my wife, my sister, my brother, my mother, everybody's using the same network. So I cannot control their devices. So I have to segregate somehow to do what is called a virtual LAN, VLANs. So I can then create a private space, virtual. Most of the they have option of creating virtual LANs, VLANs. So at least you create your own VLAN and you are alone in that small cell, and leave the guest to the people that they don't have sensitive information.
So people at home should virtually define their professional space within the router settings and use it only for work, and the other family members should use it as guests. So everybody,
as guests, but still passworded.
Okay.
You know that most of the applications, especially the free ones, I'm talking here about the Google Play Store, they are full of malware and viruses that basically what these viruses are doing, the bad actors, the hackers, what they do, they, let's say, create a game and they place it for free on the Play Store, and then you can download it, and and I'm coming back to the next advice, but to be very careful of what permissions you give to the applications. So for example, why a weather forecast application need access to your camera or to your contacts. So as soon as you install an application, you should be very careful what kind of permissions this application is requiring from you, because it's extremely important that those permissions are related to what that application is about to do, and not to something which is which shouldn't be done. Okay. On the other hand, I would you know, it's all about separating the public life from the private life and to the secret life that we all have it. So basically, there are three types of lives we all of us do, and there are applications basically that there are created for these three types of lives. LinkedIn, for example, is for our public life. Then we have, let's say, Facebook and Instagram for the ones that we have chosen to have private accounts for the, let's say, personal life, friends, and these non-conformist types of lives. And then we have the secret life, and there are specific applications that are developed for three. Also, I would immediately activate two-factor authentication to all of my applications and devices. At least if by leaks, for example, because the common mistakes that we do is by using the same password for multiple accounts. So basically, if you have the same password for your Gmail account, and for your Yahoo email account, and for your Facebook account, and then you have the same password for, in any case, this is the biggest and the most common mistake that is done by users by using the same password. So at least if I did this mistake, I have an extra step, an extra security layer, and I will activate immediately this two-factor authentication, which means besides the username and the password, someone will, the system, and it will either send me an SMS or something much better than that. You are using an application, a third-party application, like, for example, Google Authenticator, which randomizes you and gives you codes every, let's say, 20-30 seconds. So besides the username and the password, then you have to put this code. Two-factor authentication, sometimes it's so important that, for example, Google, Facebook, if somebody is hijacking your account, or if your Facebook account is hacked, they do not provide recovery support if two-factor authentication option was not was not activated, turned on. So basically what is happening is they enforce this extra security measure, which is two-factor authentication. Then we have to be very careful.
Madalin, I have a question for you. And this is something that, especially in our line of work, because we work together and we have to be careful on both sides. One of the biggest trends happening right now in the world is this digitalization and acceleration of e-commerce. And when I mean e-commerce, I don't just mean the classic e-commerce towards the consumers. I also mean the new B2B e-commerce, if you will, like servicing platforms for businesses.
B2B2C.
Yeah, B2B and B2B2C. But I have a question for you. When this e-commerce accelerated, according to our studies and the numbers that we look at, there is a new wave of consumers. It is a huge number of people who weren't using the internet so much, but because of the new context, their digital behavior changed, and they are not so experienced like the rest of, let's say, early adopters and people who use internet every day. It's a new wave of consumers who started using the internet intensively between 1 and 2 months ago, right? And they will have to remain to use it forever right now. And these people don't know how to apply these measures that you talked about. What they should do. I mean, how they should react to this, because you know what I mean. We do this for 20 years already, you know. But somebody who never used this, didn't have to use this, and now it's part of the new wave of consumers. What should they do? How should they approach this whole security matter? What do you
basically, yes, there is a lack of awareness in the cybersecurity field, and actually, I am thinking, and we could work together on something. We can create like advices on a YouTube channel, something which is easily to search, a very basic information that anybody, like even my grandmother, if she decides to start using internet as from today, she will be able to understand that she needs to take some basic steps. But when it comes to e-commerce, and coming to your question, I would suggest and I would recommend to all the users to not use or buy from websites and e-shops platforms which are not trusted, which they do not invest in cybersecurity, because it's the ownership, is the responsibility of the owners of these platforms to enforce and take care about the security and the sensitive data of the users.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, and I think this is a very important point you are making, because at the end of the day, if you are deciding to offer a service towards a consumer, you have to make sure it is safe from one end to another. And second, you need to take in consideration, when you develop that user experience, which is digital, not only at the core, it's end-to-end digital, you need to understand that not all these consumers are educated in this area. So
I will make a parallel for everybody to understand. If you went to to Disneyland, you for example, you saw those roller coaster. Imagine someone getting into the roller coaster, and I don't know, something an accident would happen, and then the owner of the Disneyland or the roller coaster will come to you and tell you that you didn't drive correctly the roller coaster and it was your fault. So basically, when you sit in the roller coaster, you put your entire life into the hands of the owner of the roller coaster, and it's his responsibility to make sure that you are fully protected and secure, and you enjoy your data and your life is not threatened. So do not buy from platforms or e-shops which do not give you the guarantee that they took all the security measures they should take as business owners in order to secure and create a secure environment for you to come and put the card. On the other hand, some tips, and this is extremely important, and I'm advising all my friends to do this. Why you should use your public number, your email address that everybody knows it, in order to connect, for example, to social media. Because if you are using a separate emails or even a different mobile number, because a prepaid card, it's not a fortune, everybody can afford it, and you can basically just have a prepaid card on a separate phone, and that to be used as a two-factor authentication, and the mobile number that you put in the relation with Facebook, with most sensitive platforms that you are using, that you are exchanging your sensitive data. Why you should have an email address like alex.cernătescu@gmail.com, the one that you use it publicly, and everybody, even by looking by searching on Google, everybody can find it, and you then use it as to log into Facebook with it, to log in to Instagram with it, to log into, I don't know, all these services. Create a separate email, and into the paranoid mode, the way that we work in cybersecurity, we have separate emails for each one of those platforms and services. So we create, for example, an email address for the Facebook account, a special one, a different one for the Instagram and for other platforms, social media platforms. Because the hackers, the first thing they attack in the social media, they collect information and so on. So you got the idea. So basically, if you receive an email, which most of the times it's a phishing, it's a fake email. If you receive an email in your business email related to Facebook, immediately you will trigger your action, and immediately you will understand that something is wrong, because the email address in the relation with Facebook, it's not the business email address. So basically, if you receive a fake email address that any hackers can find your business email address by just searching on Google, it will send you a phishing mail, a mail which will look like coming from Facebook or Instagram or Google and so on. And then you immediately react, hold on a second, I shouldn't receive any notifications on my business email from Facebook, because the email I used for Facebook or Gmail, it's another one. So basically, as much as you restrict the public information you offer to the public and to the hackers that they collect about you, as more secure, and you close the attack surface. You make it short of the attack surface.
So basically, you need to control your digital footprint as much as possible to be aware of all the places that can help a hacker create an entire puzzle about the way you use internet.
Yeah,
so
profiling.
Yeah, to put it simple. And I also wanted to make this very clear for especially for the our partners who are watching, because I see all the people that are watching us from bigger brands. All the movements that we started to do to show transparency to our clients, to our consumers, to show them all the things that we do on the health side, from disinfections, applying all the rules, implementing all the security measures, and so forth. This is one thread. We need to start communicating also all the things that we do on the cybersecurity area as well. So I think the two of them go hand in hand, because you have to be, of course, healthy in the normal meaning of the word, but at the same time you also have to be healthy as a digital presence, because right now it is our digital presence is running our lives. I mean,
actually, the process, undoable process. Once you started this digitalization, and you see that even the currency, even the money are not the ones, are used less and less, and this digitalization process is undoable. Basically, I saw a study that almost nobody would like to live. It was 30 years ago. Everybody is happy with this digitalization and with this comfort of, for example, even this pandemic helped a lot from this perspective. You remember how much time we were losing in traffic in order to meet someone for just 10 minutes. You remember? Yeah, we like social interaction. We like to talk to people, but let's make it in our free time, out of pleasure and so on. I was driving 2 hours into the traffic to sit, order something, meet someone for 10 minutes, then go back. So I was losing an entire day. So basically, the digitalization of hackers, the bandits, these cyber criminals, because where the money are, the cyber criminals will go. No more bank robberies with guns, old-fashioned, and with this, how do you call it, on this strap on your head. That's all days. Now the real money, and I have to tell you something that in the last 3 months, the revenue of the hacking, illegal hacking groups have increased a lot. Those guys that are making so much money these days, and hopefully the companies they understood that they need to invest. And I saw another study which is saying that most of the companies will allocate plus 70% of their budgeting. It will go into the cybersecurity. So
since you talked about budget, it's a very important question. Cybersecurity is no doubtably necessary, so there's no discussion if you need it or not. But is it accessible? did it become accessible to, let's say, to smaller companies as well? What do you think about this? I mean,
to some extent, yeah, to some extent it could be. There are also security is by different layers. For example, if you are a bank, you require extra security measures and you need to invest much more. If you are, for example, a transportation company, of course you have risks because the data of your trucks, where are they, the drivers, your employees, the salaries, the budgeting, how much you get from your suppliers, how much is your margin. These are still sensitive information, but the damage, it's not that big like you are an online shop or a card processing payment processor, or if you are, I don't know, anything it's related. And most of the businesses now are going to online and be more digitalized. So coming back to your question, security, it's for different layers of security you need to add in order to, because if your security costs more than that it makes, and it's for example, you cannot create a bunker, or you can invest in security as much, it's without any limits, but you need it has to be a balance between business and security threats that you are facing. If you are an attacked establishment, and so that it has to be a balance. On the other hand, if you become very paranoid about security, you will put a lot of, let's say, a lot of, how to call it, blocking systems and mechanisms that it will make much difficult the business to run.
So it's always about balance, like
balance.
what our
balance
viewers,
is in everything, actually.
What our viewers should understand is that first you need to select what is the baseline of security needs you have, without which you should not run that business. And on top of that baseline, you should find the balance of extra investments in such a way that your business is not affected functionally, basically.
Absolutely. And you have to do like an assessment. So for example, how we do with our customers, we have like an interview. It's like an open discussion. And basically I have some straight questions asking our customers. What do you want to protect? What is the sensitive information? How do you hold that information? What would happen if your competitors would get this information? It will close your business. Will it be so the damage so big? Can you recover? How much it costs you to recover from such? And we do these types of scenarios. So we identify, first of all, the exposure in case of a cyber attack. Then we see what is the worst case scenario, what it could happen. Will you close the business? How much it will cost you if you, for 5 days, you cannot, your production line is blocked. We work in the automotive industry with some of the biggest automotive companies, and the question was, if you have a ransomware attack and it will block the factory for 5 days until you recover, do backups, recover backups from external hard disk, do a role play to see that everything it's back in on the normal parameters and so on, how much this would cost? And they would say, absolutely a lot. So of course then you need to budget security. And by the way, we don't work with companies that they don't have a security department in place. If they don't have a security department in place, it means that they don't understand that they need cybersecurity. They did not hire someone to take care about their cybersecurity. They did not budget. So for me to make them understand that they need security, it's a long process, and it's so it takes a lot of effort. And maybe I don't want to convince someone that he needs security. He needs to convince himself. And there are two ways that they are convincing themselves. Either something bad it happened to them and then suddenly they realize they need security, because the FBI director said there are two types of companies: the companies that they have been attacked and hacked, and the companies that they will be attacked and hacked.
I want to add another category, Madalin. The ones that have been hacked, the one that haven't been hacked, and the one that don't know they have been hacked.
Yeah, but they are still in the first category, that they have been hacked. And this is happening many times, Alex. We do security audits to companies for the first time. We had a case in 2017 we went to this organization because they said, we are losing business. We don't know, our competitors are winning all the auction or the tenders, and something is happening there. We don't know. We believe we hired few people. We believed we had some insiders delivering information, but we are still losing business. So we thought maybe, like in the movies, somebody hacked us. Okay, let's see if somebody hacked us. And we went there. We went there in 2015, and we started a security audit. And after 5 days of assessing the infrastructure and see what are the vulnerabilities, we found a malware which had creation date on their servers in 2008. And we were in 2015. So since 2008, hackers and competitors every morning, every night at between 5 and 5:30 a.m., they were exfiltrating data on some Yandex servers in Russia. And these guys, they were very clever, because the IT guy, he was very clever, and he was doing the security updates between 5 and 7 in the morning when nobody was in the office. So these guys, they were exfiltrating they installed this malware, and they exfiltrating data, doing a free backup on some Yandex servers in Russia in the same period of time. So he will eventually interfere with the legitimate traffic of doing updates for the servers and so on. So imagine from
they were hiding in plain sight.
What?
They were hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, 2008 until 2015. Now, who can let's say count, and who can let's say evaluate how much money those guys they lost? Nobody can do that, because you don't know what you don't know. How much money would you make if nobody was touched?
Somebody actually altered the course of their company's evolution.
Absolutely, and that company actually went bankrupt. And this guy then he started a new business, and the first thing he called me, I've learned my lesson. Let's do it from the beginning. I want to be secure, whatever it takes. I have budgets now. I have one guy in charge for security. So there are things that people and companies, they will understand the need.
Security. Okay, we have another question from the audience. It's like this. It says, lately VPNs are launched as B2C services. How can we choose a safe VPN provider? That's the first question. And the second question is also, does using a VPN provider affect my browsing experience?
That's a very interesting question. And there are many people believing, and even companies believing, that if you connect, if you install the VPN, everything it's safe. Security, it should be done from many perspectives. Now imagine you have a VPN, which what it does, it actually encrypts the traffic you have with your laptop, with the with the server that you are addressing to. It's encrypted, so basically there are no man in the middle attacks. But what about if your laptop it has a malware because you don't have a proper antivirus on it? And antivirus, it's a big discussion that we need to talk separately about it. So basically, okay, coming back to the question, how to choose a VPN. First of all, many VPNs, they promise you that they don't do what is called data farming. Data farming means that they see what you are doing because they see your traffic. So basically, imagine a metro tunnel, and all the people, they should go through this metro tunnel. Of course, the owner of the tunnel sees how many people in which direction, and he can count them, sees the colors of their outfit and so on. So data farming is it means collecting and having data about metadata about the traffic, about the behavior of the users. So when they tell you that we are not keeping any logs, there is a test that you can do. And I will give you a very important tip here to you and to our audience. Data farming, it can be done immediately after a VPN provider is offering you a VPN connection a VPN, let's say, subscription that you can use on multiple devices. What that means? So, for example, if you install on your laptop, on your phone, and on another phone, and then you try to install on the fourth one, and your package of VPN is just 3 devices, for sure they will collect data about you, about how many devices, what is the ID of the device, the serial number, and how many times you use that username and password in order to authenticate with them. So we exchange information with them, so they don't know exactly what you do into the VPN. So I would choose a VPN which pretends that it doesn't do any data farming, but as soon as I see that I can use that VPN only on 3 devices, or for example, when I install on the 4th one, it doesn't work, it means that they know what I'm doing and on which devices I have installed this VPN. So if I can install that VPN on 10, 20 devices, it means that they don't do data farming. That's one criteria. Another criteria is I would check where their servers are, the ones that they are, let's say, conducting my traffic, and I would check the legislation of that country, specific country, because there are countries, for example, like United Arab Emirates, where you are not allowed to use VPN. You can get a fine of 500,000 dirhams in a local currency if you are get caught by using VPN. So I would check where their servers are, where is their jurisdiction of the company, and what is the legislation of that jurisdiction. On the other hand, I would require to the VPN provider some proofs that they are conducting continuous security tests done by companies, even like ours, but there are many other companies on the market. So because these VPNs are used most of the times by hackers, and those hackers they alterate some things into the VPNs, and then they do what is called poisoning the traffic and so on. So, not becoming very technical, I would another criteria would be this one, to require from the VPN provider a proof that they are conducting penetration tests, vulnerability assessment on continuous basis with third party. On the other hand, I would check there are some organisms, certification organisms, that somebody else is not because I'm saying that my VPN is secure and it's let's say professional and it does what it says, because the marketing team, of course, they will put a lot of very nice things on the list as a features, but at the end it should be an organism, a separate organism that would need to check and attest, certified that this VPN. There are, for example, there are companies AV Test, it's a German company, AV Comparatives. There are various certification organisms, and this stands also for the antivirus. So I would not take, you can, your kids in your view are the best, the most beautiful, and so on, but when you are the only one saying that, that's strange. So what I would go, in order to choose also an antivirus, I would go on these websites like AV Test, AV Comparatives, Virus Bulletin, and I would see there the detection rate, because these companies, these organizations are specifically doing some very elaborated and detailed tests. And basically what you do, you go with your antivirus there. I tell you from our experience, because we just finalized developing an antivirus, and it will take us another 3 months in order to certify that our antivirus, it really detects viruses. So those guys, they have a bunch of viruses and malware into their laboratory, and they basically run your antivirus to see how many of them it will detect. And it's a result based on percentage. So when you see in the AV test detection rate 95%, that's a very small detection rate. A detection rate should be above 98% at least. So I would take the list of the antiviruses that they have the detection rate above 98, maybe 99% of known malware. So this is another tip of choosing the VPN. And also extremely important is the customer reviews. But the customer reviews, when it comes to VPN, is more likely in the direction of the speed. I can watch Netflix, I can this. It doesn't disconnect, it doesn't reconnect and disconnects continuously. So it's more about usability and not about when you see. And another final advice I would give you guys regarding choosing a VPN, and this is valid for any product. When something is free, when a product is free, then you are the product. It doesn't exist free. If it is free or very cheap, you are the product. Your data is the product. Because in order to develop an antivirus, and again, I'm telling you from my own experience, we are working. It's been a year now. We are continuously developing. It's an incredible job to develop an antivirus. If I would give that antivirus for free, something strange would be, okay, I could have some freemium packages that you can scan for free, and in order to clean your or quarantine your malware or viruses, you should pay for that. But it doesn't exist free.
Okay, no, this is very clear. There's no such thing as free lunch. No, these are very interesting tips that we can use both personally and professionally. We have one more question here. One second.
Where do you see these questions? Where do you see them?
I have on Facebook, on WhatsApp. I have a lot of people writing directly to, because they are watching. A lot of people are watching us on Facebook as well, as you know.
Okay.
So a lot of them also DM direct messaging. They give me direct message with the question.
Okay, go ahead. We are not limited by time, right? We could stay here another 1 hour.
No, we will live forever. Yeah.
So, yeah, I love this, because when you go to TV shows, then they tell you 5 more minutes, 3-4 minutes. You cannot cover. Yeah, let's go ahead.
So 1 second, my phone blocked again. So the question is like this. Obviously, we are using more and more video conferencing technologies right now, and not only, I'm translating from Romanian.
Yeah.
Not only that, our technologies, they don't only use our chosen technology. Let's say we use Microsoft Teams internally, right? But a lot of the clients invite us to also use some of their own technologies like Zoom, WebEx, and a lot of other options, Blue Jeans, and so forth.
Tell me something. Are all those Americans, all these platforms and technologies, by chance?
Most likely, yes. But to finish the question,
please.
What should we consider any of these video conferencing apps safe? First, and second, what do you recommend in terms of handling this digital conversation at the highest security level? How should we have business discussions discussing trade secrets in the safest way possible, Madalin?
In the forest. Okay, so
in the forest. Let's say the forest is not.
Okay, so if we cannot go in the forest and we still have to use this technology, Zoom was hacked a month ago, and I had another discussion earlier, and somebody was telling me, yeah, but the security team has fixed the vulnerability. Yes, but 500,000 accounts, they were leaked into the dark web, and you can buy them. So basically, into these accounts, you will see the username and the passwords and the email that they have registered. And guess what? Maybe half of them, they are using the same password that they use for Zoom for their email addresses, the one that they have used into the database. So there is a website, guys. You can go to Have I Been Pwned, and you can check your email address if there is in any cyber attacks database is leaked. So basically, if you see your email over there, that the database of Adobe was leaked, or there were hundreds of attacks. I'm sure that you have a count of all of them. So make sure your email address, if it's there, go ahead and change the password, put a unique password. I would like to give another advice to our viewers regarding the password. The password advice should be at least 12 characters. should contain caps and low letters, should contain a special character like a comma, like I don't know, pound, like dollar, things like that, exclamation and so on. And it should have also numbers. On the other hand, the password should not be easy to be predicted, like Alex, and instead of E we will put 3, and instead of Aya we will put 4, and so on. This is it's not anymore an option, because there are hacking tools, automated hacking tools, that they work with brute force and they have that dictionaries, and in these dictionaries basically all those passwords are already present. So by trying more and more millions of combinations, it will find that password.
Like
so
the brute force method.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have an advice for everyone: the way that you should your password, you put passwords, of course, again, and I insist on this, they should be different passwords on each platform you are using. Of course, everybody's going to tell me now, how do I remember all these passwords? Because I'm going to have like 13, 12, 20 passwords and I don't remember them. You should create, here it comes the solution. You should create an algorithm in your mind. And let's make a role play here, Alex, and imagine that you will create in your mind an algorithm to generate passwords, and you will be able, even 3 o'clock in the morning, if I wake you up and I open the Facebook website without noting the password anywhere, you will be able to reproduce that password with your mind as you are looking to the website that you are trying to log in to. So basically, it could be like a base word, for example, not related to your name. It could be like, for example, Roman Empire, with R, big R, and caps R and caps E. So Roman Empire, and then you have a figure, some numbers, some special characters, and in the end, or somewhere in the middle, you could have the, let's say, first 3 letters of Facebook. It could be FAC. So basically, you have the base, like the Enigma encryption. You have the base of the encryption. All you need is, by looking to Facebook, for you to introduce, it can be the first, the third, and the 5th letter of the platform that you are facing. It's your algorithm, you created. So you will be able, without being forced to remember by heart, or which is worse, taking notes and put the passwords on post-its on your monitor. That don't do that. So you will be able to regenerate that encryption, that password, by just looking to the Google platform, whatever you want to log in.
So Madalin, to summarize, the advice to our viewers is to create a formula, an algorithm that they have, and then to apply that algorithm to all the places that they have a user and the password. So basically, if they ever forget a password, they use the algorithm when they try to log in and recreate in their mind the password, so they enter it.
And I had this question: if the fingerprint, when the first iPhone was created with this fingerprint, because first they required from us numbers, and then they required from us fingerprint. Now they want our face, so they have the entire. Next time it will be with the DNA login, to be more secure, of course. So basically, when they asked me about the security of the fingerprint, my statement was the following: your fingerprint is everywhere. Everywhere. The password is in your mind. So from this perspective, especially if you add 2-factor authentication, it can be a more secure environment. And also, what I told you earlier, to do not expose. And I mean, you're okay to expose data, pictures, and these kind of things, but the email address that you are using, it shouldn't be the ones that you are using everywhere. This I already told you and advised our viewers. So regarding the password, using this algorithm is another advice.
Okay, but coming back to the question, from all these video conferencing tools that we are forced to use, should we consider them safe? Are they encrypted? Is what we talk to each other.
Another interesting question. Thank you, Alex, for this question. For example, I was asked so many times if WhatsApp is secure, if Telegram is secure, and so on.
Is WhatsApp secure?
My opinion is no, and I have some arguments for that. For
Okay,
example,
delete everything.
No, you cannot do that. I saw governments talking sensitive data, ministers, so the entire cabinet, the entire governmental structure was having exchanging information through WhatsApp groups, which is easy to use, very.
But that's non-compliant. Leaving the fact that security-wise is not safe, it's also non-compliant.
Look, WhatsApp did not publish their source code. I will just you will have the conclusion. I will just tell you some facts, okay? WhatsApp source code is not open source. It's not public. Telegram open source source code, it's not public. Signal code, it's public. It's open source. Everybody can have a look into the source code of Signal and see what is happening in the application, how it's negotiating the encryption keys and so on. So that's one criteria, the source code. What is happening there? Maybe there is a line of code in the WhatsApp and it will BCC all the messages to a server somewhere, maybe. Signal does not have that. On the other hand, of course, it's very comfortable, and you saw that if you log in 2 or 3 WhatsApp in your WhatsApp account in 3 devices, so if you use this QR code and scan the web page, and you have also the mobile open, and you write something, and on your laptop is also open up, you see the same message there, right? So basically, there are mirroring. What that mean? What that does mean is that communication it's through a server. There is somewhere a server. For example, Signal has what is called encryptic curve encryption, which is basically the server, which is in the middle. What is actually doing is negotiating first, that exchanging the keys, the private keys, public and private keys. So basically, hey Alex, this is Madalin I want to talk with you. This is my key. The server comes. Alex, where are you? Madalin wants to talk to you. Do you want to reply to him? You reply to the message, okay. And then Alex exchanged the information through the server. Then the server, what it does, it goes away, and the communication, so that's why it's called encrypted curve encryption. The communication is now peer-to-peer encrypted between 2 users. So it's not through via a server. So I would.
So every point, just to again clarify for all the viewers, every point, an extra additional point in a communication is another vulnerable potential risk.
Now imagine that you see on your mobile, if somebody, listen, if you go home and you leave, or if you go, let's say, in a public place and you leave your phone unattended, and somebody is scanning very quickly and it's open, it's scanning your QR code, it takes how much? A fraction of a second. It takes a second to do boom, bam, and then you see on the browser, and then you leave. From that moment, somebody can see your entire communication. So you asked me, I replied, and I believe that from this perspective, when it comes to communication, if you use a proper VPN, let's start from the platform layer. The device, the hardware, the operating system, the applications that you have on the operating system, the way you transmit your information to the cell tower, to the internet service provider, how it goes to the other end, how it comes back. Everything is based on layers when it comes to security. So it doesn't mean that you have a VPN. What you did is just encrypting the communication with your device, with the other device. But if you have a malware or a virus in your phone, then it can send information to other IP as well.
So it can actually broadcast that information.
Yeah. Security is done step by step, and there is no, and I have to tell you this, which is extremely important, there is no 100% security. Whoever says that this device or this is 100% secure, he doesn't know what he's talking about. On the other hand, what we can do as users and as cybersecurity advisors, we can advise users and companies how to restrict and do all the, let's say, best practices in order to make the security to reach to the highest percentage, but it will never be 100%.
True, it's true. I have another question here. It says like this: in regards to websites and or web apps development, what are the best practices a web developer should employ? Also, how can you judge what hosting services are more secure?
Very good questions. I like your audience, Alex. Okay. A programmer which is developing an application, security, it's not his job. His job is to develop that application and to work and to do whatever it was designed to do. Of course, there are practices when it comes to best coding practices. For example, we have a guide that we give to our clients. It's a big guide, and we teach and we help the programmers to understand the security policies and the security controls and the security manners to do more secure code. But I never met an application to be without vulnerabilities, flawless, and developed by a programmer, because it's not his job. Security is the department, and for us as an auditing penetration test, vulnerability assessment, it's our job to identify vulnerabilities, because the programmers are humans, and humans, they do mistakes. Humans, they do a lot of interesting things, but they do also mistakes. So it's
but you have to admit, the coolest things we remember and memories are from mistakes. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, actually, the experience is the sum of the total mistakes you have done in the past.
Amen.
Yeah. So basically, see, I know I have experience. It means that you've stopped and you've learned. So that means experience, the sum of the mistakes you have done in the past. So yeah, there are best coding practices that you should follow. But again, the best way is to learn in action. So let me tell you how we do with our clients, with the companies. They tell us that this application should be tested to see if it's secure. We start conducting a real hacking scenario penetration test. We identify a bunch of vulnerabilities, critical, medium, low, and then we go and present the report to the client. And then we have in the room the system administrator, we have the technical team leader, and then we have the programmer. Because vulnerabilities can be exploited server side or application side. So mistakes, or I don't know, some let's say somebody did a mistake, or it's Microsoft did a lot of mistakes when it comes to, and I will make a parenthesis here about Bill Gates, if you allow me, that he knows about viruses because he's dealing with viruses, and Microsoft is dealing with viruses since the beginning. So
no, but Bill Gates is actually dealing now with viruses, not.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying I trust the guy in regards of viruses. He will find.
Madalin, will you also make the jump from computer viruses to health viruses? No.
So I trust Bill Gates that he will find the vaccine against the virus, because he found so many solutions against Windows and Microsoft viruses. It's a joke, of course. Let's come back to the serious things.
Dr. Madalin. There's a nice ring to it.
No, Dr. Bill. Okay, so we were talking about vulnerabilities and the way. So basically, we go to our clients and we show them the report, and then we point some vulnerabilities and we tell to the programmers, you see, you did several times this mistake, and you basically allowed me to do what is called an SQL injection because you are often not sanitizing these parameters and you are doing these mistakes, not whatever it's specific mistakes that is done by programmers. And they say, whoa, I didn't know that this comma that I forgot there, it's so important that it can allow a vulnerability to exploit my database. Wow, that's amazing. From that point, from that moment, basically those programmers, they start to learn. And it's like, imagine the cars. When the factories, they develop the first prototype of car, then they give it to the experts into the NCAP, and then they crash to the wall, and they bring the car totally crashed, and they see what is this. I say, listen, okay, because now let me tell you what you did wrong. You see this steering wheel, it was not properly because it came into the face of the mannequin and it killed the mannequin. It did say, oh my God, okay. So it's a learning process. It's a mouse and cat game, and this is the way you should continuously test your security and continuously develop and learn and so on.
Okay, so it's basically an area in which if you think you're good, you're dead.
Yeah. No, you're not dead, but you can embarrass yourself. I mean, I can be hacked anytime, and I am prepared for that moment. I have a special for that moment. I hope I'm not going to use it, but everything is hackable. We don't have to forget this. But I'm taking a lot of measures, security measures. I see the attempts, I see the hacking attempts, but by now we are okay. But you never know.
Yeah, true. Better safe than sorry. So basically, this is a very interesting piece of advice that I want to share with our viewers. Always act as if somebody else is reading everything you write or do in the digital environment. Always act like this. And there's another comparison because, as you well know, I'm just finishing the motorcycle, so I can start.
Hopefully, this summer you will join us, our bikers gang.
Yeah, we will start a nice bikers gang. But the most important advice I received regarding the motorcycle is similar with the one in cybersecurity. About the motorcycle, it says always ride as if you were invisible. For me, that's an honor, like act like nobody's seeing you. But what I mean is always act like you're invisible. In cybersecurity, always act as if you're already hacked. Meaning that be very careful with the information, add extra security layers everywhere you can, and be careful with the client's data that you have. Also as a B2B, because those clients trust you with a lot of information, unlaunched products, future plans that you are part of, strategies that you are part of, and so forth. But also when you deal with the clients and customer data, when you are a brand and are in relation with the clients. It is important to understand that nobody is safe. This is a dream. If anybody says, and Madalin, please confirm here, it is a dream to be 100% safe.
It's like you are going to the doctor and tell him, doctor, give me a pill that I will never be ill in my life. So, or after a treatment, he will tell you, are okay from now on, years, no more issues.
Yeah, so
it's a continuous process.
It's a continuous process. It can happen to anyone, but it's our duty to be as diligent as possible with this, and always ask the experts. Like always go to the people who actually do this, because what you can do is to be as compliant and as best practices oriented as possible, but at the end of the day, cybersecurity should be done in a professional way. And this is also for many other aspects of the business environment. So if there are any other questions here on Crowdcast for Madalin, let me know. Okay, if not, Madalin, I think we touched almost all the subjects that we wanted to touch. Is there any, let's say,
cybersecurity? I could talk until tomorrow morning about cybersecurity and dark web and phishing attack, SMS hijacking attacks. There are so many malware, advanced persistent threat, the one that the state governments, they are attacking another governments in the warfare. It's so much to talk about that, but we can take it.
I have one more question here. You see, it's like always in the last 50 meters. So the question is, I'm again translating. Is there were a recent multiple attacks using that hijacking of your mobile phone number and people pretending that they are you in relation with the telecom provider. How does that work, and what can we do to protect ourselves against it?
There are various ways that this type of cyber attack was done. One of them was SMSA hijack. Basically, it was a vulnerability some time ago of SAT browser. So basically, if you remember this WAP application where you were getting messages from the operator about various things, it was a vulnerability. It was like a browser facility. It was exploiting in order to give commands to the SMS. So basically, the main target of the hacker is to, when you receive that code, that two-factor authentication code, in order to be also seen by the hackers, because eventually the first thing these hackers they do, they go and buy these leaked databases from the dark web. You can buy $300. You can buy a leaked database of I don't know, hundreds of millions of email addresses and passwords. So what you do, when they find accounts and they try to log in, for example, they found an email address, Alex Cernătescu at yahoo.com with the password 1234. It was leaked into the database of Adobe. What they do, they try to log in into your actual account. And if you have, for example, two-factor authentication, of course, by searching on Google, there is special websites, for example, Me or Truecaller ID, which is another scam, which we talk on another topic about. And then they see that number and they are sending this malware through an SMS, packaged into an SMS, and eventually they will be able to redirect to another number the code that you received by SMS.
Okay.
Another one is silent SMS. Silent SMS is a attack where you send an SMS towards a mobile number and you receive back chunks of data, and basically can be the IMEI account, the IMEI serial number, the serial number of your device. You can get the cell ID, sector ID, and all some information which basically can help you to localize someone. If you receive the cell ID and sector ID, cell ID could be, for example, where you live in Primavera, for example, and the sector ID is the pizza pie section where you are located. So basically, someone can see where are you. So basically, if I want to know where are you, I can send you a silent SMS and you will reply without you knowing with the sector ID, cell ID, IMEI, and sometimes, which is more dangerous, is the IMSI, International Mobile Subscription Identification. So basically, it's the serial number of your SIM card. And even if you change the mobile phone and you put your SIM card into another phone, with another IMEI, but the IMSI is the same one, and then you just need to then match together and so on. So now coming back to security measures is that as much as possible not using the two-factor authentication on a mobile number which can be easily found. Use a prepaid, a separate phone, or redirect or something like that. The hackers, they cannot attack what they don't know. This is a statement. They cannot hack what they don't know or they don't see.
So it comes back to what you were saying in the beginning, not to easily give others the chance to connect you with the phone number and so forth.
Yeah, open source intelligence is something which is used a lot by hackers.
We have one last question. It just came. Again, it came on the Stay at Home TV Facebook this time. Somebody is asking if you think university is necessary to start a career in cybersecurity. So I would take this question and make it a bit more generic. How are people entering this field? What are you looking for when you recruit people? What would be the perfect people that you would look for in your company? Because I think this is of interest both to you and the people watching us, since they ask us this.
So basically, we have a very strange onboarding process, because we work with sensitive data, and of course we work with people, and we really need to trust these people as individuals first of all. We trust, but we verify them. Actually, it's a long process. It takes up to 1 year in order to be engaged with us. So it doesn't mean that if you are technically good, then everything is okay. So you have to be technically good. We will give you a bunch of tests, which are not easy at all. And after you pass those tests, we will give you to do some basic stuff, totally, completely isolated from the team, and you will not touch sensitive data of our clients. And we will be watching you for a long period on your behavior, we will do profiling, we will do a lot of specific activities, which some of them I cannot tell you now. So basically, we need to make sure that you are psychologically okay, morally okay, what are your real interests. So we have a very difficult onboarding process. Even if you are onboarded with us, we will continuously check up on you. And the technical part. What I encourage is actually, before this pandemic, I started a project here with the local authorities here in Râmnicu Vâlcea, where I am now, which is called Hackerville. We want to create a cybersecurity academy, which is called Hackerville Academy. So basically what we do here, we give the opportunity to young talents to come and show us what they know. If we see real targets, of course, we will recruit them and we will train them and we will raise them our way in order to be part of cyber smart defense. On the other hand, for the people, for the teenagers that they don't have the necessary skills and the direction is not good, we will teach them some basic stuff, and of course we will give them a nice diploma of attending the Hackerville Academy, which they can use afterwards. This diploma will be used also when you engage with companies, and basically we as a nation, we have valuable people. We have this IT mindset. This is not said only by us, but the big multinational companies, which of course, besides the cutting cost strategies by coming to Romania and constructing a IT hub in Romania, they also saw the Romanians are intelligent people and they have, let's say, this drive to technology and IT. And the third, let's say, advantage is that Romania is on the 3rd place in the world when it comes to internet speed. So we have, in the 1st place is South Korea, Sweden, and then we have Romania as internet speed. So we have a lot of opportunities here in Romania when it comes to IT, and especially in cybersecurity. And on the other hand, I would like, and you know that already, that we are proudly representing Romania when it comes to cybersecurity. Even in the competitions, our European cybersecurity team has won several years the first 3 places into this competition. And also, we as a company, we have clients almost, to all the continents of the world. So that means that our quality, the quality of the service, the implication, and the mindset is highly appreciated by clients globally, from Brazil to Singapore to Middle East and even to the Nordics and so on. And you know that very well because we are working together on some projects.
Absolutely, my friend. So I wanted to ask you before any more questions appear and we sit here all night.
No, let's answer the questions. I really like to. First of all, I didn't see you for a long time, and I kind of missed you because we didn't see each other in person for some time. I know you are celebrating something today, and congratulations for that anniversary. And I know that you might have some cakes and some drinks there. But let's take some more questions, of course.
Yeah, so I'm celebrating 5 years of marriage, and there was no cybersecurity protection for marriage invented. So, yeah.
But you are a happy case. You have a wonderful family, and actually you are lucky.
I am, and you too, my friend, and it's important. These are
absolutely.
These are the most important things.
Of course, the luck we created, but yeah.
Yeah, now people started writing to me on different channels. Congratulations.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's take questions.
So basically, I have here the last question. This is literally the last question that we are going to take. So the question is like this: How do you mix? We marginally touched this with the router setting, but how do we mix business and personal life in a safe way? Because people like
the paranoid.
Normal way, not paranoid. Because the question, from what I read here, the question is coming from a place of not knowing when people make mistakes in mixing the two. Because they are at home, the procedures are just starting to happen. When you were at the office, you have some automated things in place that you do. You always do this, you always do that, and so forth. But at home, how do people mix business and personal in a safe way? And also the question says, can we use, or should we use, I'm translating from Romanian, should we use the device, the work device for personal in this context?
Absolutely not. Do not watch Netflix. Do not play Minecraft. Do not play Fortnite. Do not play solitaire. Don't do anything else rather than using for your professional work.
Okay,
especially the network, even the USBs that you are inserting into your Mac, into your laptop, it should be a dedicated USB and not used by your kids. The kids are a perfect gateway into your infrastructure because they click out checking, they don't care, they just want to play. So you should segregate absolutely completely. Now, if we go into the paranoid the way we are, for example, this discussion that we have, it's on a completely separate laptop, and I'm not using my laptop to use Zoom, which was hacked, to use any of those applications to the browser that you need to give permissions to your webcam and so on. So basically, in the paranoid way, you have a completely separated. You have the email account, which is completely secured, two-factor authentication, monitoring the traffic, VPN, proper antivirus, and also installed after a research on AV test and AV comparatives, virus bulletin, and so on. Completely different.
So to answer the question, you do not mix them in a safe way.
No, you cannot do it. Basically, how can you, let's say, do a shower into the public park? You cannot do that. You go at home, you lock the door of your of your bathroom and you take the bath there, you cannot take a bathroom into the public space, or you cannot bring everybody from the street to come and sleep with you, with the unknown people into the same. So exactly the way you do with your physical life, you should approach your digital life. When you go to sleep, you close the door, you leave the shutters, you activate the alarm, you have the surveillance cameras. Otherwise, you would let all the doors open, sleep, maybe nothing will happen. So in the same manner.
Very good advice. So Madalin, before we finish the show today, first I want to promise all of our viewers that we are going to repeat this with Madalin as well, like we are doing also with the media discussions and the other discussions that we have. Obviously, I see a lot of, these are not questions, but messages to repeat this. We have at least three messages that we need to
Nobody
do this.
swear us yet.
Yeah.
No bad words.
No. We were good guys. So I promise everybody, we promise this, Madalin, that we are going to repeat this to keep you up to date about all the cybersecurity developments in the world and all the things that are interested and relevant to you guys. So probably every month, every 3 or 4 weeks, we are going to repeat this with Madalin. And before we finish, Madalin, any last advice or what is the final message you want to leave our viewers with?
In which direction? Because I have many advice. I'm full of advices. But no, I'm just kidding. In which direction? In which direction? About security, about life, about
a secure life.
A secure life. Okay. The thing is that fear is something which is extremely exploited by hackers, and this pandemic became a cyber pandemic as well. And phishing attacks and emails with COVID maps, with websites testing you if you are COVID positive, you answer the questions and it redirects you. So keep your eyes open, trust but verify, and use only certified and secured, proven secured platforms. Do not take as granted if it's a perception, it's a Zoom, it's Microsoft, it doesn't matter. Anybody can do mistakes, and behind those big giants are still people which are doing mistakes. So better safe than sorry.
Thank you very much for the advice, Madalin. From my side, guys, things are already changed. The new normal is already here. Digital will forever be part of our lives, and I think one of the most important things that we need to continue to do, and stayathome.tv.com and all of our projects and initiatives are helping this, is to learn, always learn, and be open to learn about these things, because they will be part of our lives indefinitely from now on. Digital transformation is no longer, I wouldn't call it digital transformation anymore. I would call it digital adaptation, because digital is the new norm and you need to adapt your business. Otherwise, it will not be able to be successful, because it is what it is. So we are always here for you to share all the things that we know, all the things that we think can help your business in any direction. As you see, we have various subjects that, and all of these great people and experts that we bring to our shows are people with which we also work day by day and integrate into our projects, and help your consumers have a good experience in the digital world. So thank you very much for spending the last hour and a half with us. We are honored by you spending time here, because it is what keeps us going to do these shows further on. Madalin, thank you again, and see you next time when we continue this discussion.
Of course, brother.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
All the best.